Hello, this is Bryant Myers, and welcome to Module 6 on PEMF. Finally, we're going to talk about PEMF therapy in this energy medicine course, and I thought it would be appropriate to do PEMF for more energy in your body because, more energy is one of the main reasons people do purchase a PEMF therapy device along with pain relief and better sleep and, of course, other things. So think of energetic people you know. We say, boy, he has a lot of energy, or wow, she is such a bundle of energy. Energetic people are active, healthy, positive, enthusiastic, love the company of others, are action-oriented, and are very likely to say yes or let's go to opportunities and excitement. So in this video, I want to show you how PEMF therapy, like the iMRS 2000, energizes your body on all levels, from your whole body all the way down to your cells and everything in between, inside and out, even down to your very bone marrow. But first, let's look at why and how PEMF therapy is able to wirelessly transmit energy and why PEMF penetrates every nook and cranny of your body better than any other form of energy medicine. So why is PEMF better than other forms of energy medicine? Well, number one, it penetrates more deeply. The human body is transparent to magnetic fields, and that has to do with mainly what's called the relative permeability constant, which means that anything that's non-metallic is essentially to a magnetic field like a vacuum in space. So as PEMFs pass through the body, they stimulate all the components of the body to the degree that the different components can interact with PEMF. And the key to this interaction is resonance, not intensity. Now let's look at wireless energy transfer technology, which is actual cutting-edge technology proving this very point. So you're probably familiar with a lot of the battery recharging plates, or that you put your iPhone on or any smart device. You can just charge it up by just putting it on the plate. Those do wirelessly transmit energy, but the device has to be really close to the plate. So there's new technologies by Witricity and other companies that are able to wirelessly transmit energy, say, from one side of the room to the other. Not just, you don't have to be within a millimeter like these charging plates that you use on your cell phone. But what Witricity and other companies that are developing this wireless energy transfer technology have found is that through magnetic resonance, you can actually transmit energy over long distances. And the key to this is magnetic resonance stimulation, or resonance, not intensity. And the only variables that play an effect are the diameter of the coil and the distance from the coil, not intensity. And this is 98.5% efficient. It can give both a steady current and recharge batteries. So it can, like, say, for example, power your TV just like plugging it into the wall. And we'll see that this correlation is more than just a metaphor with PEMF, because PEMF therapy literally does the same thing. It wirelessly energizes all the cells in your body, and it is also able to give a steady current or flows in your body, opening up microcirculation, nerve flow, meridian flow. The only difference now with the electronic devices is they are powered by higher frequencies, where the human body responds to lower earth-based frequencies. And just to recap what I've talked about in my book and in many videos, the main frequencies the body resonates to is the 0 to 50 hertz range. So in order for this magnetic resonance to work, it has to be in the right frequency range as to resonate with your tissues, cells, and body. The word resonance depends on having the right frequency entrainment. So with the cells, that frequency is 0 to 35 hertz, and Addy and Bowen showed that quite some time ago. The tissue resonances, Siskin and Walker and many others, you can see this chart here, that the tissues in your body, from bones to ligaments to muscles to nerve, are stimulated by this 0 to 50 hertz range. Our body and brain also resonates to 0 to 30 hertz. In fact, our brain, we know from brain state research, from low delta to high beta is 0 to 30 or 50 hertz. And again, like I've mentioned in my book, the Earth itself, the Schumann resonances and the geomagnetic frequencies are in this 0 to 50 hertz range. And finally, our bodies, as Zimmerman and Seto have showed in some good research, we actually project 0 to 50 hertz frequency from our biofield. That is, the energy that our body emits is also in this 0 to 50 hertz range. So to summarize what we've said so far, PEMF is unique in energy medicine is that it penetrates all the way through your body to your very bone marrow and into the nucleus of every cell. PEMF acts as a whole body battery charger by wirelessly charging your cells, tissues, organs, and whole body via magnetic resonance energy transfer, just like Witricity and these other new wireless energy transfer systems. So now let's look at how PEMF therapy energizes your body on all levels. And I'm going to break this up into three main levels. The first level is the whole body or biofield. So this is how PEMF energizes your body as a whole. The second level is the intermediate fractal branching networks. And this will be your circulatory system, your lymphatic system, your nervous system, your pulmonary, your lungs, and the living matrix, which is the basis of the meridians. All of those connect the organism, your whole body, to all the cells. And we'll get into detail on this in a minute. And thirdly, we'll look at how PEMF energizes your cells at the cellular level. And it acts like a whole body battery charger. And briefly, on each of these three levels, PEMF is working with two different types of energy, potential and kinetic. From physics, energy is either stored energy as potential energy, like in a battery, or kinetic energy of motion, like current going through a wire. So PEMF is going to actually improve the flows of your blood and your nerves and, all the currents in your body, and it charges your whole body battery and the little cellular batteries as well. So let's start with the whole body or biofield. The first component of how PEMF recharges your whole body is related to the circadian rhythms, that is, your activity and rest cycles every day. So it goes without saying that getting good sleep at night is really, really important to having more energy the next day. But it also just will synchronize your body and brain to the rhythms and cycles of the day. So you'll have more energy in the day and you'll be ready for sleep at night. And the iMRS is really the only PEMF system that has the biorhythm clock, where the frequencies are very much in tune with energizing in the morning and more relaxing at night. So PEMF definitely helps with the overall body circadian rhythms, which does lead to more energy when you sleep well and you're in harmony with nature. The next component of the whole body is the Chinese system. So I tell people PEMF therapy is like needleless acupuncture, a whole body needleless acupuncture treatment. So there's tens of thousands of scientific articles on acupuncture and the biological actions and the clinical benefits of acupuncture. Acupuncture points have an electrical characteristic, which means they are susceptible to both electrical and magnetic fields and stimulation. The primary mechanism is that of qi or qi, is also called life energy or life force. And this life force moves through the meridians. Typically, when we have good health, the energy is balanced and flowing very nicely. There is research to show that PEMF therapy opens up these acupuncture points and increases the flow of qi. In fact, in one study that compared PEMF to acupuncture and lasers, found that both PEMF and acupuncture help the body to go into more of a parasympathetic, rest and digest. So basically what PEMF is doing is it's opening up the flow. It's opening up your meridians, clearing all the blockages so energy can flow. And of course, when energy is flowing, you feel more energy. Now in the Chinese system, there are two components to energy. One is Jing and one is Qi. So like we talked about, stored and moving energy, kinetic and potential. So Jing think of it as your whole body battery. Jing is your stored energy or essence. And in the Chinese system, it's typically related to the bone marrow, the kidneys, and sort of the sexual energy. So the more Jing we have, it's like a bank account of energy. The more energy we have in our bank account, which helps with longevity and living longer. Now, the Qi itself is moving energy. So that's the kinetic component, where the Jing is the potential. So the actual flowing of energy through the meridians is kinetic energy of motion. So PEMF is going to help with both increasing your body's overall vitality and stored energy, as well as improving and opening up all the meridians so energy can flow more freely. The third thing I want to look at with relation to the whole body is what's called gas discharge visualization. And what this does, and we've had some studies done at the SciTech Institute, and my friend William Vitalis, also in Virginia, did a very detailed study as well. Every time, and you can see from these images here, we see an increase in overall vitality, meaning that you can see the glow increases, which is your energy. You can see that it increases the balance and the cohesiveness. And in this image here, you can see what's called fractionated energy fields. That's when there's like gaps or tears in the energy field. So PEMF helps to kind of smooth all that out as well. What this is showing is not only is PEMF therapy giving you more energy, but it's actually balancing your energies, and it's creating a cohesive, balanced energy on both sides of your body from head to toe, and the polarities are all balanced out. Just giving your body more energy isn't the whole picture. It needs to be coherent or harmonious energy, and that's exactly what PEMF does. Now, an analogy I give here looking at these images of gas discharge visualization is from Star Trek, shields up, right? So basically think of this energy glow like your shields that's able to buffer you from the torpedoes of aging and the aging process. And basically, health fundamentally, as I've said before, is an energy game. When you have more energy, you can handle the stresses of life, and your buffering capacity is much greater. People that are chemically sensitive and weak, basically their glow is so weak that any little toxic chemical just throws them way out of balance because their shields are like at 5%. PEMF therapy helps to get your shields up to 100% so that you can basically go out into life with energy, vitality, and when stresses do come your way, you can handle them. So the next level in your body after the whole body is the fractal branching network. And this isn't as complicated as it sounds, but it's a technically correct term. And what this does is it connects the whole body to each cell. So it's basically the everything in between. And this fractal branching network, there's basically 5 components to it. The blood or circulatory system, the lymph or lymphatic system, the nervous system, the lungs or the tracheal bronchial trees, and the living matrix, connective tissue matrix, which is this kind of the home of the meridians. So what PEMF does is it opens up all your fractal branching networks. And we hear a lot about PEMF therapy for microcirculation. And what that is it's opening up the fractal branching network of your circulatory system, down to the capillary level even by increasing nitric oxide. And we'll look at that in a minute. But actually, it's working on all these different fractal branching networks. And what this does is it helps the body and the flow of energy and information to take place between all your cells, between all your organs and your body to your cells to your body and the environment. And again, it happens at split-second speeds. And if there's any blockages in these networks, ill health is a result. And we will look at that. But let's first kind of look at what a fractal branching network is. So first of all, fractals are self-similar objects, object or quantity that displays self-similarity in a somewhat technical sense on all scales. So fractal branching is a type of fractals where bifurcations are taking place. So a bifurcation, simply put, is a splitting of one main body into 2 or more parts, kind of like a highway that splits into 2 and then maybe splits again. So in your body, you can see this image here of 5 iterations of a fractal branch. So you got something splitting and splitting again, splitting again, splitting again. So let's briefly take a tour of these 5 fractal branching networks. And then we're going to really focus on the circulatory system because a lot of research with PEMF is with microcirculation. But just know that when we talk about that example, it actually applies to all 5 of these networks. So the first, which we'll look at in more detail, is the blood or circulatory system. So you have your arteries, which branch into arterioles, keep branching, 12 or 13 times or so down to the capillary level. The next is the lungs, and the tracheal bronchial tree is just amazing. In fact, it looks like a tree when you turn it upside down. There's 23 levels or stories of branching, and this gives the lungs basically the surface area of a tennis court. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this, but a fractal branching network, why it's seen so much in nature, is that it maximizes a surface area for a given volume, and it allows a given volume to have an interconnection between every other part of that volume, like nothing else can do. So there's a good reason why nature uses this in trees and rivers, and there's just so many examples in nature. So back to the body, the third is the nervous system, in the brains, and here you can see a few images of fractal branching in the neurons in the brains. The next is the lymphatic system, which, kind of like the circulatory system, it doesn't quite branch to the level that the circulatory system does, but very close. This is the home of your immune systems, as well as sort of like a sewage system in your body. Most of your cells are bathing in lymph, not blood. Blood is carrying nutrients to the capillaries, which diffuse into the lymph, into the cells. And the fifth is the living matrix, the connective tissue matrix. And I've showed this little image before. And this connects you from your skin to the very nucleus of every cell. So your connective tissue is a fractal branching network that branches all the way down into the nucleus of each cell. So it doesn't just stop at the cells like the circulatory system does. It keeps branching all the way down to the nucleus. So health sounds simple. Just keep your fractal branching networks open where energy and information can flow freely. So what's the problem? The problem is we don't. In fact, considering 4 of the 5 leading causes of death are due to these fractal branching networks getting sort of dammed up. I tell people your health is damned, when these fractal branching networks, but it's damned with 2 M's because they get blocked or dammed up. Let's just go through all 5 and look at diseases that can result because of blockages or a damming of these fractal branching networks. Number 1 is blood vessels. So heart disease is the number 1 cause of death. Stroke is the number 5 cause of death, both related to blockages mainly in the fractal branching network of your circulatory system. Number 2, lungs, emphysema, COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. That's related to the number 3 cause of death in the U.S. Okay, again, due to blockages or a breakdown in this fractal branching network. In fact, if you look at scans of people that have these COPD, different pulmonary diseases, you can see this fractal branching network basically just broken down. It's just not, all the alveoli just aren't able to get oxygen. Nervous system, paralysis, neuropathy. Think of all the diseases related to the nervous system sort of breaking down. The lymphatic system, this is where your immune system resides. So number 2 cause of death is cancer. And pretty much everybody with cancer has very stagnant lymph. And their immunity is very low. Their immune count could get down to just single digits even. That's number 2 cause of death. And the living matrix is the home of the meridian. So as we know, meridian energy blockages can be related to all these other diseases as well. So that's 4 of the 5 leading causes of death are due to blockages or breakdowns in these networks. The only other cause of death that's not there is accidents. And of course, accidents are just accidents. In a nutshell, PEMF therapy opens up your fractal branching network. Think of it like this. Health is like a river. Disease is like a swamp. So take a look at these images here. Look at the image of a swamp and a river. What's the difference? A swamp, there's no flow. Water's just stagnant, and you get all this overgrowth of mold and fungus, and the water becomes mucky. Certainly you can't drink it. Where when you got a living river where everything's flowing, the water is clean and pristine, what PEMF therapy does is it turns your body more into like a mountain stream, and it gets rid of all the swamps. Because this is a really good analogy, because people with cancer and different diseases, they have blockages in their fractal branching networks, which literally create pockets like cesspools where they got infection, toxicity. The body's just not able to get fluids in to get the toxins out. PEMF is opening up all these networks, and I want to look specifically at microcirculation because microcirculation has the most research with PEMF, and it really illustrates how well PEMF works to open up all these networks. And it's working on 3 things. It actually works on all 3 aspects of your circulatory system, which is the vessels themselves. PEMF therapy has been proven, research proven, to increase nitric oxide. Nitric oxide causes vasodilation. So it widens your blood vessels, so again, the blood can flow through. And a similar thing happens with the lymph. Number 2 is the red blood cells itself. So the red blood cells are flowing within the blood vessels. And what PEMF therapy does is by increasing the cellular voltage potential, it actually dissipates what's called the Rouleau effect, meaning your blood cells will stack like coins and get clumpy and lumpy when the cellular voltage is low. And that actually inhibits the red blood cells from holding on to oxygen. And because they clump together, it makes it difficult for them to get through the capillaries, because red blood cells can only get through the capillaries one at a time. And the third thing it does is it lowers the viscosity of water. PEMF therapy and magnetic fields have been proven to lower the surface tension of water, to make water wetter. And this is why I tell people, put your water on your pillow pad or a PEMF therapy mat, because it will both energize the water and lower the surface tension. So think about it. When you open up the blood vessels, make the water more slippery or wetter, and help the red blood cells to all separate from one another so they can hold a maximum amount of oxygen. Those 3 things together are just the perfect storm for opening up your circulation. And again, heart disease and stroke are the number 1 and number 5 killers in the U.S. This can be a lifesaver, and we have a lot of testimonials that are a result, in my opinion, of the enhanced microcirculation that results from using PEMF therapy. In fact, look at some of these live blood. I don't have time to get into all of it, but we've had many doctors and practitioners do before and after with live blood. And a picture is worth 1,000 words here. You can see on each of these cases on the left, before iMRS or before PMF therapy, you can see the clumping of the cells. After, you can see them all more, they're rounder, they're more energetic. It just improves the flow of the blood and enhances the ability to hold on to oxygen. Okay, so now we've seen how PMF therapy works on the whole body to increase the body's energy, how PMF therapy opens up all your fractal branching networks to help to improve the flow of energy from the body down into the cells. So now let's look at how PMF actually energizes and recharges your cells directly. So I tell people very simply, PMF acts like a whole body battery charger. Batteries are cells and cells are battery. 2 or more cells equals a battery. I mean, literally. And so it's appropriate that the word cell is used for our human cells. In fact, we have around 37 trillion cells. So here's a question. Take a look at this image here of grapes and raisins. And this kind of is a nice segue to what we just talked about with microcirculation. Are your cells grapes or are they raisins? And you could see from those before and after live blood pictures that people that had the Rouleau effect, all their cells were all crinkly and crunched together. Where after the PEMF, they all kind of ballooned out and they have the healthy glow and they look more like grapes. So PMF therapy literally can help to turn your cells from raisins into grapes. And this next image here further proves the point. You can see on the left it says these are healthy cells, and on the right these are sick cells. So what PMF therapy is doing is it's literally recharging your cellular voltage, your batteries. Dr. Otto Warburg discovered quite a while ago that cells maintain a cellular voltage across their membrane, which is analogous to the voltage of a battery, and this is called the transmembrane potential, or TMP. He found that healthy cells have a measurable voltage from 70 to 100 millivolts, with the heart cells having the highest voltage, and he found that as people got progressively sicker, their voltage dropped. Just chronic fatigue, for example, might have 30 to 50 millivolts, and way down to cancer, you can see 15 to 20 millivolts. Pretty much anything less than 15 millivolts resulted in death. So there's kind of a limit to how low the cellular energy can get before your body just gives out. And it's like a dead battery in your flashlight. It's just the light goes out. And so very simply, PMF therapy is recharging that voltage. And by doing so, it's basically giving your cells more energy, which is giving your body more energy. So again, health is essentially an energy game, and there's nothing better at recharging your energy than PMF therapy. The way that it works as a wireless energy transfer system, as we said before, the cells resonate to that 0 to 50 hertz range, that's basis of the earth frequency. So you want a PMF device that's going to work with the low frequencies. What's happening is the magnetic fields are sweeping back and forth, and the sodium-potassium pump, you get a net positive charge on the outside of the cell. So this charge separation is by very definition what a battery does, is it separates charge, which is potential energy, and this is one of the fundamental reasons that we're healthy or we're sick. In fact, Dr. Otto Warburg did not find any sick people with a high voltage, and he didn't find any healthy people with low cellular voltage. So there's a direct correlation. Now, taking the idea of microcirculation further down, take a look at this image here. This is called electroporation. And what PMF therapy does is it makes your cells more porous, meaning it's helping to get further, because the microcirculation ends in the capillaries, but the nutrients and oxygen still have to get to the cell and into the cell. So again, the sodium-potassium pump is one of those channels that PMF therapy helps to open up. But, all your oxygen, your carbohydrates, proteins, fats, enzymes, hormones, all kinds of stuff has to get in and out of the cell. And, metabolic waste products have to get out. This is a very visual picture. Look at how PMF therapy opens up the cells in a healthy way. It's sort of like opening all the doors and windows in your house to air things out, just to get the fresh air in and all the toxic stuff out. And that is a really good metaphor for what PMF is doing at the cell level. Now let's kind of conclude this video by looking at how PMF therapy, now we're going from the cell membrane down to the mitochondria. Each cell has many organelles and around 100 or so mitochondria, and the mitochondria are the principal sources of energy in the body at the very deepest level. What's exciting about PMF therapy is it's working in both directions with ATP. And ATP is like a little molecular battery that can be recharged, and then the body uses the energy as it needs it. PEMF, by increasing the flow of oxygen and nutrients into the cell and the mitochondria, helps through the Krebs cycle to produce ATP, and through enhancing ATPase, PEMF therapy also helps to release the energy from the ATP. So it's going in both directions to really maximize energy production at the cellular and even molecular level. And remember, ATP is the principal currency of energy in the body. Everything in your body needs energy. Health is an energy game, and physiologically, ATP and the TMP cellular voltage we talked about are probably the most primary fundamental sources of energy in the body. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you can see why PEMF therapy is the best of the best in energy medicine for recharging your body battery and giving you more energy and vitality. Stay tuned for the next module on gravity, the sixth element of health. In this very important module, we're going to look at all the things you can do to improve your posture, your mobility, your flexibility, so that you can stay active in your 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. So stay tuned for that.